Let's get it Star Wars. Let's get it Star Wars in here. Let's get it Star Wars. Let's get it Star Wars in here.
A small rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio,
your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times. Star Wars #1.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, welcome back. Rebel Force Radio coming live to all of our Patreon supporters. That's right. The podcast that you're listening to right now is being streamed and beamed and broadcast to Rebel Force Radio. All that support us on Patreon, all levels of support. Got the link to listen to the show as we record it live and the featured event this week. In addition, of course, to the Bad Batch and the trailer, we'll have a breakdown of that and talk about its big premiere coming next month. And, of course, with it, RFR after shows. So we'll get to all of that in due time. But the main event is your calls. That's right. You're going to be hearing from all Patreon supporters tonight. It's going to be open lines, and no topic is off topic as long as it relates to Star Wars. So we're going to get right to it. And, of course, I'm not alone. I can't do it by myself. Along with me, as always, is my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. And we're back for another week, packed with big news, too. I mean, what a great way to kick off Star Wars 2024. We each week is chock full of announcements and trailers and controversy. And that's perfect for a couple of jamokes like us. Gives us plenty of stuff to talk about. But sometimes, you know, me and Jason, we like hearing ourselves talk, sure, but, you know, sometimes we need other voices, so we want to hear from you guys this week. We're really coming into this show with not much of an agenda as far as programming goes. We're going to turn it over to you guys and make this a legitimate call-in show. But, of course, we're going to have to break down that Bad Batch trailer, Season 3 of the Bad Batch, which they announced exactly 1 month before its premiere, which I found rather interesting. Is this like something we can look at is a new kind of, a schedule, a way to approach these reveals is when it gets to about a month out, then we know we'll be hearing something. Because I get so fatigued from all of the trailer rumors and all of that stuff, you know, it gets overwhelming after a while. So I like a little bit more consistency with the announcements, and if they settle in with exactly 1 month before premiere, like down to the day, count me in.
I love that you think that it's that organized, you know, and or that that there's some sort of schedule that they're meeting.
I'm just looking for trends.
right. Yeah. Hey, speaking of trends, I do want to ask. I am assuming. And I have the schedule right here. Let's put that up. So part of the release was not just the trailer, but also the broadcast schedule or the streaming schedule. So we're kicking things off with a 3-part, a triple feature on February 21st. These are all Wednesdays. And it's going to take us all the way to May 1st, right before the big May the 4th Star Wars holiday. And if you recall with Mandalorian, they dropped Mando episodes, new ones, in a prime time slot. Like I think it was 8 o'clock. Was it 9 Eastern or 8 Eastern? I can't remember, but it was very different than what they had done in the past where they would drop them in the middle of the night. What do you think? Do you think these are going to be scheduled for a specific time that encourages more appointment viewing, or do you think we'll just wake up and see that they've already hit Disney Plus?
Well, I hope, again, you're looking for consistency here,
Right?
where you ain't going to find it with Lucasfilm. But, if it's a trend, I think just by judging on how successful the Ahsoka series was, they'll want to stick with that. You have to see nothing but an upside to releasing it when they release it during prime time. It creates an event, and we're not so just scattered all over the place as far as our viewing. You get, not only do you get to see the show debut at a reasonable time, but you also know in the back of your mind that a lot of other Star Wars fans are watching it at the exact same time you are. And to me, that adds a lot of energy and makes it a little more exciting. So I don't know, Jason, but I think they'll stick with it. Does anybody know, maybe in our listening audience, how does Marvel release things like animated series and whatnot? Has anybody been following Disney Plus? Has there been any Marvel animation released to Disney Plus?
Well, that What If show was animated, so maybe there's some clues to that. Was it Ahsoka or was it Mando season 3 where they started that prime time drop?
That was Ahsoka. Yes.
That was Ahsoka. Okay.
Yeah. And with What If, they dropped the entire season at once. I don't see Bad Batch doing that. No, we know Bad Batch isn't doing that. We're staring right at the
looking at the schedule. Now, will they release the entire season with the exception of the season finale to the shill websites and shill podcasts?
I hope
not. It didn't take long for that to not even enter my thinking, but every once in a while, we'd be doing an after show and we'd be having a great discussion about, what if this, what if that? And I'm like, there's bozos out there that already know this, and they're sitting there laughing. Look at these guys. Look at these guys speculating.
But, it also sucks their presence within the general fan community. It sucks their presence out of it because they've already checked out. So, I'd much rather share it with Star Wars fans worldwide as opposed to sitting up in my ivory tower with my entitlement queued up on my computer screen,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, when we were at Star Wars Celebration and you got an opportunity to go watch that Kenobi premiere with Kyle. And, you came back and you're like, yeah, it was okay, but I'd much rather be sitting here in the room with you and Bill and watch it with you guys. It was, there's definitely something to that. And to be honest, sometimes you got good episodes and you got episodes that aren't so good. But what always makes every episode good or makes every episode even better is the conversation afterwards. That's become part of how I experience Star Wars now. Yeah. And it throws a monkey in the wrench when they release these things at the ungodly hour of 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
It's just they're stripping away event status from the actual premiere. And I think that's just dumb. But it looks like Disney may have figured it out, and I certainly hope Bad Batch Season 3 will be dropping in primetime hours where we can all watch it together.
Yeah, me too. Well, as we said, we've got the calls, the call screener standing by. The number to call, 708-866-1737. Our official call screener and program observer is with us. Tyler Page is back. Tyler, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you guys.
This is an opportunity for us to get some of the rust off the gate because in just a few weeks, we're going to be back doing this every week. So
yes,
now's the time to get out the kinks.
Yeah. I mean, I got plenty of kinks. So
Tyler's quite kinky.
So Tyler's standing by. So thanks, Tyler, for being here. Always appreciated. Look, we love your super chats and we love the regular chats. But I tell you what, I feel us being a little stubborn this week because we want to hear from you. We want you to call. So it's great to ask questions through the chat, through the super chat, but we really want you to just give us a call, 708-866-1737. It's not scary. If you're a Patreon supporter, you've heard these call-in shows before, so don't worry. We don't bite hard, right? So that's the number. Call 708-866-1737. Get in the queue. But well, let's get into it. Do you want to just go ahead and fire up this Bad Batch trailer that dropped? And
I'd love to, yes.
Kind of go scene by scene. There's some good dialogue too, so we might have to run this back a little bit and make sure we catch some of the dialogue. So let's go ahead and cut to it, and hopefully we've got audio, and we should be in good shape.
I mean, initial reactions, even before you hit play, were stopped on a freeze frame here, and I was really just blown away by the quality of animation we see in this trailer throughout. I was sort of rubbing my eyes on occasion saying, is it live or is it Memorex? Is this live action or is this animation? It looks so good. Now, obviously the characters themselves are, they're stylized for sure, but things like ships, environments, blaster, bolts, explosions, to me, that all is borderline live action quality at this point.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as I was watching the trailer the first time, and I'm so used to that style. When I see it, it's Star Wars to me. I respond to it the way I do to some of the other, the visual language of the live action stuff. I respond to this. So I don't really love the idea of them changing it up, to be honest. I like the consistency, especially when they're telling stories in this era. So I'm fine if this is a hallmark of Lucasfilm animation when it comes to Star Wars. I prefer it to Rebels, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Rebels is beautifully animated too, don't get me wrong. But I think when you compare things like The Bad Batch to Rebels, it's almost like comparing cinema to Saturday morning cartoons. And yeah, not a knock on Rebels again. I mean, there's some stunning animation in that show, but it's much more cartoony, if you will.
Right. Turtle Wars says it's come a long way from the 2008 Clone Wars movie. Yeah, there's absolutely.
Right.
All right, well, let's get into it. Here we go. Bad Batch Season 3 official trailer.
Hold on! They've got troopers up top.
Some basic action here on a side of a cliff with...
Oh, look who it is.
Is she driving that Imperial tank? No, she must be in one of the those other ships. I forget the names of all of these prequel era ships. What's the matter with me? Is one of them's called? No, that's not an Ark. What's the name of that transport ship that's flying around? It's all over.
Someone in the chat will tell us.
Yeah.
But I was pausing here because I wanted to see. They show up later. Are these stormtroopers that we see here? I know that they're later in the trailer, but I think these are Imperial. Yeah, these are stormtroopers. Yeah,
those are those TK troopers that are based on the Ralph McQuarrie trooper designs.
Right. Later, no spoilers here, but later we'll see a more traditional stormtrooper.
We're running out of road!
All right, this is, very, just takes you right back into Bad Batch.
Let's move! I thought at the end of the war...
There's Rex talking to Hunter. Here's a downed ship.
Is that their ship? Is that the Bad Batch ship? I
don't think so. I feel like that this are there people around? Let's see. There are people. You see people walking around the wreckage. But I wanted to back up here. Is that a Bomar monk monastery there?
Oh my
or is it Jabba's palace? It's not Jabba's palace, but I mean it's got that similar shape to the structure there. A little fire going on. I don't know why. I was just thinking that maybe that's like a Bomar monk monastery.
Yeah, it could be. It almost looks sort of like Naboo architecture too. With all their domes and everything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that also. But you got some smoke billowing out there from the fire. And then here's this downed shuttle that we were talking about. I guess it's got to be recent, right? Because there's smoke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a fresh crash.
That's a fresh crash. Okay. All right. And then you do see some figures down there, like in the distance, walking away or running away from it. Something. So, flashback to Tick.
The death of Tech.
All right. So there, Rex talking to Hunter. We can't walk away. We can't give up. We've got to stay in this. Now, Omega is sporting a couple things here. One, longer hair, a little bit. So we might be looking at a time jump. I was thinking this could be half a year, something like that. Maybe 3. Yeah. I was going to say 3 seasons, but I think that's 3 years. No, 3 seasons is a whole nother year, isn't it? That's how the seasons. I'm thinking of that conversation Luke has with Owen in episode 4. But anyway, she's also wearing this uniform that is not what we see the prisoners wearing later. Oops. How'd that happen?
Maybe they didn't have anything in her size.
Yeah, let me jump over here.
With goodwill, and that's the best they could come up with.
Right, but it's almost like she's wearing a uniform of the other scientists there. Like she's look, it doesn't look like. I mean, I know she's a prisoner. Don't get me wrong, but she's not working on the chain gang. We'll put it that way.
She was working with the Kaminoans in what seemed like a kind of I don't know, like in a lab. Like she was a lab tech working with them. She seemed to have an awful lot of knowledge about the way the cloning facilities worked and everything.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And here we are at the end of season 2. She gets captured, and she's in captivity with another one of those Kaminoans. Which one is it? Nala Se?
Nala Se.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe Nala Se is there to continue her experimentations, and naturally then Omega has slid into that role.
Yeah, it's kind of like Omega's back into that role of serving the Kaminoan scientists. Yeah.
Yes. And Nala Se cared a lot about young Omega as well. Looked out after her.
Yeah, it seemed like there was some maternal thing going on there. There was real
That's
caring.
a good way to put it.
So here she sees the prisoners being frog marched and there we go with the Republic commandos.
They're back.
Yeah, Republic commandos are back, and there's his name just flew out.
Crosshair.
Crosshair. Thank you.
I'm used to correcting you from last season.
Yeah. Some of these character names are not sticky. But I do know this guy. I know old Hemlock.
Hemlock's a good character. And he's got something up his sleeve. I'm not really sure what it is, but he's cooking up something.
Yeah, we'll see him with a pretty important figure later on here in this trailer.
Secure her in a cell. Omega's been waiting for us a long time.
A long time.
There's a clue, a long time. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking at least a year, maybe longer than that. Yes,
easily a year. I'd like to think that there's a full year between each season, as you said. Mm-hmm. That seems to work out pretty well with the type of story they're telling at this point on the timeline.
Yeah.
A long time. Our mission is not over yet.
That's the Havoc Marauder.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the Bad Batch ship.
Right. February 21st. Oh, now here we go. We'll bump up the volume a little bit here for this.
There is nothing of greater importance to secure the future of this empire.
Who's doing the voice work?
That is definitely Ian McDiarmid.
You think so?
I
That
think
does not
that's-
sound like Ian McDiarmid to me at all. Not
Really?
at all.
All right, let's run it back.
But, I mean, age might become, playing a factor with the way he delivers some of this dialogue, but that
pushing
doesn't sound
80.
like him at all to me.
But let's listen again.
There is nothing of greater importance to secure the future of this empire.
Maybe it's just he's like kind of speaking in low tones. And maybe
he's-
that's what...
This is his whisper voice.
Yes, we got to keep this between ourselves, okay? Can you keep a secret?
He says there's nothing of greater importance than this. And I think we can assume that what he's talking about is the big experiment, which is merging force sensitivity with the cloning operation. I'm assuming that's what it is. What else could be the most important thing?
Yeah, his quest for eternal life. Nothing is more important than that. Yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess we're assuming.
Whatever is needed.
And of course, he's walking there
Who's
with.
that?
We'll show that in just a second. But he's, Hemlock's back there, and if you thought, going into this that Hemlock was just some sort of random stooge, here he is actually holding court with Palpatine, and we know that Palpatine is a complete and total recluse. Sightings of him are extremely rare, so being around him, that doesn't happen to just anybody. So I think it does elevate Hemlock a little bit by just having him there in the presence of Palpatine.
Elevated Hemlock. I think that's a new drink they're serving at Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, man. It's a great band name.
Elevated Hemlock. That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right, this guy right here. When I first saw him, I was thinking, oh, is this like a Merrick character? And then I went back and I did a little digging, and I was reminded about that that clone from, I think it was season 2. He was like Clone X. He was an assassin clone.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm thinking that maybe this is another one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right on about that. It appears he has that Boba Fett viewfinder on the side of his helmet. It looks like he's more ready to hit the Alps than the battlefield. He looks like he's about ready to do some skiing to me, but or maybe some motocross, maybe a little motocross with this guy. But so whoever this cat is, he's gonna be a new player for the Empire in season 3.
But he's definitely leading. It seems like he's commanding these troopers here. Hold on, let me. Hold on.
Most people in the chat are agreeing with you, Jason, that is indeed Ian McDiarmid. And it's just, it's the more hushed tones. It's just a different delivery for Ian. It almost sounds like somebody's impersonating him, but I don't know.
Yeah, but it happens with some of these guys. I remember when James Earl Jones started getting up in years, when we heard him voice Vader in the prequels, the end of the prequels. It was like, okay, it's James Earl Jones, but it doesn't sound like Darth Vader as much as it used to. So it does happen with these guys. I mean, when you're a voiceover actor, the great thing is your voice doesn't change as quickly as your face. So you can play these roles for a long time, but it does change. It definitely does change. All right, where were we here? I had a little issue as I was trying to zoom in on that assassin clone. So there he is.
Needed to accomplish this goal. You will have it.
All right, more Palpatine dialogue. Whatever is needed to accomplish this goal, you shall have it. So, big goal here. And I can't help but think that this is about the cloning and the merging of the force sensitive, or at least getting a strong enough clone. I can't imagine that Palpatine is connecting these dots to really anybody, but a very select few. So he's got, this team over here working on this aspect of it. He's got this team over here working on that aspect of it. But I don't know that anybody, with the exception of maybe no one knows that what Palpatine is really trying to do is to have everlasting life through cloning and force sensitivity and all that. So, yeah. So, but he's saying it's the most important thing, and whatever resource is needed, they're going to get it. Bad Batch blowing stuff up. Oh, look at this. Hold on. We got some cameos. I believe that's Fennec. Yeah, Fennec Shand.
And Cad Bane.
Sitting at the bar, and Cad Bane.
Bane is back.
Yeah. Bane is back,
baby.
But that's not the biggest surprise. We'll see that in a moment here. But yeah, just quick shot of Fennec at the bar. Here comes Cad. Now, of course, the way they cut this, it makes you think that Fennec is sitting there and she looks across the bar and here comes Cad Bane, but that may not be. That may not be. These trailers are cut at such a micro level, that may not be the case.
For all of you.
Oh, let's hear what that sounded very ominous. What's he saying?
For all of you. They are coming.
Oh, they are coming.
For all of you.
For all of you. Very ominous. Makes me wonder if that's a warning that's being put out by that's a clone saying that. So it could be he's saying that to Hemlock and some of the people there on Mount Tantus.
Or it could be a member of the Bad Batch saying it. That could be Hunter for all we know.
Yeah, right,
saying that to the other Bad Batch members.
They all sound alike,
They do. I wonder why.
Oh, all right. So, we know Omega gets rescued because here she is flying a ship. I don't think they're going to let her do that as a prisoner.
Spoiler alert.
Give us a real challenge.
Oh, wow. Taken down by a croc. Look at that little beauty.
But by a what? Taken down by a what?
A croc.
Oh,
looks like a crocodile.
Okay, I see. It's a croc.
Who is that getting pulled in?
Looks like a member of the Bad Batch. Hard to tell.
One
last
fight.
We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it very.
Oh, I know that voice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What?
Asajj Ventress. There she is. Take a look. Very similar to how she looked in some of those. Remember some of those lost episodes of the Clone Wars, and some of those storylines got infused into Star Wars Dark Disciple, where Ventress goes off with Quinlan Voss. But they released some of the animatics and some of the sketches of how she was going to look, and this looks pretty consistent with that sort of. Although I gotta say, this hairstyle in Star Wars these days, with the shaved up on one side for the female characters, with the shaved head up on one side and the long on the other, it's a little bit overdone, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little overplayed. It's all over the comic books and especially the comic books. But yeah, it's definitely overplayed. That blonde hairstyle. Now, I didn't go back and look at those old Clone Wars episodes when they flash back to Asajj being discovered as a young child. But did she have blonde hair in those old shots? I can't remember. Maybe somebody.
God, I don't even remember that. I don't even remember the Asajj origin story.
Oh yes, there were flashbacks with Plo Koon. I believe I'm thinking around season 5.
Dang.
But you guys take note of all these questions we're asking this week and call in and impress us with your knowledge. Because I'll be honest with you, the way this week is shaking out for me, I haven't had any time to do any research. This is only the second time I'm actually seeing this trailer. So we're all in on this together. And I'm relying on you guys to fill in the blanks a little bit this week.
Yellow lightsaber, Jim.
Interesting. The only time we see yellow lightsabers are being used by Jedi Temple guards. And so she must have somehow come across one and taken it.
Yeah. It's still got I'm seeing here, look, we got the curved hilt, which is reminiscent of what she had before, because she had that Dooku style saber with the curved hilt.
That's interesting.
The yellow saber, you're right about the temple guards. Rey has a yellow saber at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Although is that meant to be gold, or I think it's yellow. It's yellow.
It is yellow. It is yellow.
Are they using, do you think in this instance they're using the color to indicate that she is something? She's not a Jedi, she's not a Sith, she's something else, sort of like Balin and Shin and Ahsoka, how they had those orange sabers?
Yeah, I would say for sure. Yeah, we shouldn't take a visual cue like that and just toss it aside. I think they're definitely sending us some sort of message. So Asajj never really ascended to the rank of Sith ever.
Right.
Nor did she ever ascend to the rank of Jedi.
No.
So
she's a survivor.
Now see, here's the thing.
Hunter.
This Dark Disciple novel, which I have largely avoided for some reason. I've never come back around to it. I was so bummed that Clone Wars got canceled. I wasn't really interested to get new episodes via novels.
Yeah.
Because I figured, who cares, So I just I never paid any attention to the Dark Disciple novel. And right away, David in the chat says, didn't Ventress have yellow saber in Dark Disciple? So here we go again,
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
There was mention made of Dark Disciple in the StarWars.com press release that was released in coordination with releasing this trailer. And one of the producers, I think it was Brad Rao, he said that the events of Dark Disciple will not be eliminated as a result of Asajj Ventress being back in Bad Batch. So they're very aware of that.
Yeah, he says it will align
better or
with
for
the
worse.
events of the story. So it's a retcon. It's a retcon, but not like the Even Peel retcon where they didn't even acknowledge, or what was the other one? Shin Hati.
Shin?
Not Shin. I've got Shin on there. Hold on. Who is the Jedi that got like 3 different deaths in Revenge of the Sith?
You're thinking of Shakti.
Shakti.
Yeah, she
Shin
did have
Hati.
many.
I just created a new.
Shakti.
I created a new character.
Yes.
Shakti.
No, but she died several ways. She died in one deleted clip where Grievous stabbed her in the back, right in front of Obi-Wan and Anakin. And then I know she died again in the Force Unleashed video game. She got thrown into a Sarlacc pit. But I think there's another death in there too. Like, I don't know, maybe it was in the novel or something for Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, she's been served up on a silver platter a few times.
Ian in the chat here is saying that Tracy Kenobi over there, the PR, said she put out a statement. Ian, I'm trying to follow. If you could, what statement? Give us a call. What was Kenobi trying to retcon there from the old PR department? Okay, so here is Asajj, and we're wrapping up the trailer. There she is, maybe going after the Bad Batch. Final season, February 21st, the big triple feature. So yeah, some cool stuff in there. I mean, as Jim mentioned, the animation style, phenomenal. The dynamics of these characters, I'll be honest, when I saw the trailer, I got real excited and watched it, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is, we're back in this universe, and knowing that it's the final season, 15 episodes, by the way. So, it's either going to be 15 banger episodes and they're going to tell a real epic story, or it's going to be kind of what we've been used to, maybe like 5 or 6 banger episodes and maybe, 8, 9, 10 kind of filler stories. I hope that they don't stretch it too thin. It would be, I think, a shame, especially if, now we don't know how many episodes they've picked apart for this trailer. It could be, maybe it's just the first 3. We don't know. They didn't say. But I would like to think that if they're going to venture into that clone uprising that we've been talking about, maybe a second Clone War, so that when we hear the Clone Wars talked about in the original trilogy, that it makes sense. If they're going to do that, then maybe that's why they need 15 episodes, or maybe it's going to spin off into something we've speculated about. Maybe it'll spin off into another series called Clone War or Clone Wars.
There you go. There you go. I think the studio is anxious to keep riding the wave of Clone Wars popularity. Same studio that canceled Clone Wars when Disney purchased it, but they come to recognize the value in that animated series and spin-offs attached to it.
Right.
So I think what we're seeing here in this trailer is primarily clips from the first few episodes. Maybe it goes deeper than that. It's always a little bit different with animation, but just by judging on the past, looking at those trends again, I typically see the season launch trailers to be largely plucked from the first couple of episodes.
Right.
I got Tracy Canobio's Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, account up here, and she doesn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
She just quotes Brad Rao from the article that says, "We don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Asajj Ventress," she just says spoiler in parentheses, but any new storytelling with Asajj Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciple. So they're trying to get in front of that train before it derails, and everyone's whining about lack of consistency with the books and the show and stuff. But even with a statement like that, I'll say that there's still a likelihood that novel canon can be disrupted a little bit by a show like this, and I almost expect it.
Yeah, it happened before. When they rebooted the expanded universe, I did expect them to slow their roll a little bit. I thought they were going to take a less is more technique, like we kind of had during the beginning of the original expanded universe, where you had these big hardback book releases, one a year, and then and maybe a couple paperbacks telling these sort of side adventures. That's the way it was. And then now all of a sudden, you got 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 hardbacks coming out, half a dozen coming out in a year. So yeah, hard to keep it all straight. It does tend to collapse under the weight of its own canon. I suppose these titles here, we'll just kind of run through them real quick. We got the first 3: Confined, Paths Unknown, Shadows of Tantus. Then we got A Different Approach, The Return, Infiltration, Extraction. By the way, March 13th, double feature. There's a couple of double features that are coming up. So they're doubling up. March 20th, we got Bad Territory. We have The Harbinger. Then on April 3rd, another double feature, Identity Crisis, Point of No Return. And then Juggernaut, Into the Breach, Flash Strike, and then the finale on May 1st, The Cavalry Has Arrived. Yeah. Who will be blaring was that the trumpet that they used to blare for the cavalry?
Like I'm thinking about, I don't know, Go Gophers or some old cartoon. Could you put that list back up on the screen real quick? Yeah. Because with an episode, they have a double feature here. March 13th, Infiltration, Extraction. So we might see young Omega being held captive all the way up until those episodes.
Yeah, good point.
I'm just looking for some other clues Here's one called Point of No Return. Didn't we have a
I was
Clone
thinking
Wars
that.
episode called that?
Yes.
I can't remember. I wouldn't say yes so fast, but it sure sounds familiar.
It sounds real familiar. I was going to say, God, didn't we have a Bad Batch episode named Point of No Return? I feel like I remember typing it.
Point of No Return, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Episode 5. Episode 13, Season 5, excuse me. Episode 13, Season 5. So, also a great song by the classic rock band Kansas. Oh, it's the Meeber Gaskin one.
God, yes. That's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah, Point of No Return. R2 and his team must stop a sabotaged Jedi cruiser. And then an ad popped up. This Wikipedia is such a pain in the ass to use. That's why I got all these books here still. I can open a book and not have a stupid ad pop up in my face.
Yeah, if an ad just jumped out of your book and slapped you across the face, I wish they would learn on these sites. Who clicks on these ads? I heard that they prey on these people that have some sort of compulsive disorder and they love to click on ads. And those are the only people that are clicking on ads, apparently, are mental patients. All right, so into the breach, flash strike, the cavalry has arrived. All right, well, it looks like we've got some quite a few calls here in the queue. Once again, the number to call, 708-866-1737. Get in the queue. Let's see, Tyler. I don't see Tyler talking to anybody right now, so there are a few lines open. So 708-866-1737. What do you say, Jim? Want to take our first call?
I would love that, yes.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. Let's check in with Marty. Marty wants to talk Bad Batch and the trailer.
Marty.
Hey, Marty, you're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Hey, chut-chut, fellas. How you guys doing?
Chut-chut.
Hey, Marty.
Just super hyped. Great start to the week. Just seeing the trailer pop up. I was at work, and at the end of the day, I told the kids, all right, you guys can do what you want. I need to watch this. I put it up on the big screen, and oh, my gosh, I'm just so excited for this show to come back. I started a rewatch on Monday. I did the first episode, and then 2 yesterday, 2 today, and if you do 1 a day, you'll make it all the way up to the season 3 premiere. So I'm just feeling the hype. It's good to be back and see the clones again. And I saw the episode with the Rancor. What's the name? Oh my gosh, I just saw it.
Oh
my gosh,
the pet Rancor, the baby Rancor.
Yeah, Moochie. Yeah, and Moochie. So it's an exciting time, and I'm excited for the episodes to be back. It's just an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan with all the news coming out about the Mando and Grogu film.
Oh God, yeah,
And
more noise about the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy film. We can talk about that a little bit later. Some rumors, but what are you most looking forward to, Marty, with season 3 of the Bad Batch? Where would you like to kind of land with this series when it wraps up?
The dream would be if I see an animated Darth Vader. I think that would be cool. If you got a scene with Captain Rex and Darth Vader in the same room, I think that would be a super emotional gut punch.
Rex and
Even
Vader?
if Rex didn't know.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep.
Rex and Vader.
Yeah.
Just seeing that, I want to know the fate of Commander Cody, just because I remember when Revenge of the Sith came out, I thought his armor was awesome, and I thought he was the coolest character, and I'm afraid to say I think I'm going to see his demise in this show. So I definitely want to see that, and I really want that clone uprising. I really want that. So
yeah, let's look.
And it was cool to see Cad Bane. Cad Bane's always a cool one.
All right. Okay. The only episode title that I see on here that would lead me to think that this is could be a clone uprising is the cavalry has arrived. That I could see being the start. Right. You know, if the cavalry comes in, and because I can see Omega being extracted in this extraction episode, but then they want to come back and save all their brothers. They get Omega out, but then they're going to come back and wage holy hell on Mount Tantus, and that could be the cavalry arriving and start this uprising. And we saw the clone saying, well, they're coming for you. He could be talking about the rest of the clones. His brothers are the ones coming for you, and that you could very well be Hemlock. So,
Right.
all right.
And I hope Hemlock meets a very fiery end.
He reminds me of the guy that they killed him. I always called him General Brian or whatever. He was the most nondescript guy. What was his name?
Rampart. Yeah.
Rampart.
Well, they didn't kill him. They imprisoned him, didn't they? Didn't they just? Well, he just disappeared.
Locked him up when
they just locked him up.
Him for Camino.
Oh, that's right. He took the fall. Right. He took the fall for that. So I guess he's still alive. Maybe he'll come back. But no, I just thought he was so uninterested. Give him a scar or something. I don't know. All right. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate the call, buddy.
An eye patch.
So much. Yeah. Make him a Bond villain. Thanks for the support here on RFR Patreon. Let's talk to, how about, John. John in New York. Give us a call.
Hey, guys. Chut. And Happy New Year.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Larry David would say you are far past the deadline, sir, for a Happy New Year. But you know what? Since this is our first live show, we'll take it.
This is your first live. Yeah, this is the first time I get to talk to you guys directly, so you're going to take it too.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
No problem. Happy
You
New
will
Year.
accept his accolades.
I saw the Bad Batch trailer. It looks great. I'm really excited for it. I can't really say anything bad about it. Real quick, I'll just say that given the news about the Asajj Ventress, I went ahead and I'm listening to the audiobook of Dark Disciple right now. I downloaded it today and I'm listening to it at work. So just so I can be ready. So I got my ducks in a row. But other than that, I can't really think of anything terribly prescient to talk about. Anything like that fits into the current news, the current Star Wars zeitgeist. But as per the invitation in the Patreon, to talk about anything that you want, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about something for a little bit, and I figured I'd take the opportunity to bring it up, which is, I'll label it, High Republic versus the Old Republic. Now, I wonder if, because, I think everybody knows, and I don't think Lucasfilm is stupid. I think they know that all us diehard Old Republic and KOTOR fans, we're jonesing. We're foaming at the mouth for, give us some love. Give us something meaty, something we can sink our teeth into. And instead of giving us something, Old Republic, they're like, we got Old Republic at home, and Old Republic at home is High Republic. And so, the classic meme. So they give us High Republic, and it's like, all right, well, this is our take on it. And this is this is almost as though the High Republic is supposed to be their attempt at it. And Jimmy, it's no secret. Everybody knows that Jimmy Mac is no fan of the High Republic. And I listened to the first novel on audiobook. But, and I was so lukewarm on it too. But the second Jimmy Mac was like, I can't stick with it, that's all I had to hear. And I couldn't stick with it either. I will happily watch.
Jim, did you hear that?
Acolyte.
You are
great.
officially, I just want Jimmy Mac to know, he is now officially an influencer.
Hey.
Because he influenced you into not watching or reading the High Republic. So there you go, Jim. Add that to your resume.
Yeah, so I wanted to know what you guys think. Do you think we'll ever get, do you think the diehard KOTOR fans will ever get something that we can sink our teeth into? Or do we just have to be happy with KOTOR at home? Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year.
Oh, all right. I think he's gonna listen to our answer.
I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounded like you wanted to rap, John.
Yeah, you could stick around if you want.
Yeah. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't have a ton to add to this conversation because I haven't read any of the High Republic stuff, and other than watching some of the cutscenes and stuff for KOTOR, I'm not really a gamer. Wasn't a gamer then, but I'm aware of the absolute devotion that fans have to that game and what a high point it was in Star Wars, and not just Star Wars gaming. I think in Star Wars storytelling, people were so invested in those characters. It is baffling to me when they have, and this is, you could say this about Lucasfilm / Disney since the beginning. They have such low-hanging fruit in terms of things that you just know would be extremely successful, and they tend to avoid it. And I think they overthink a lot instead of just kind of giving in to what already has a groundswell of support from within fandom. And that doesn't mean letting the fans run the content, run the show, make the decisions. But why would you not, when you know that you've got all this? Now you've got the power of nostalgia. That's nostalgic for people that were there when the game first came out. So it's a head scratcher for me. Now, the Knights of the Old Republic has been long rumored as being a film or maybe even a Disney Plus project. So who knows? Maybe it does exist. Maybe there's multiple script attempts somewhere. But it's as George would say, it's on the shelf. But I don't know that I see the High Republic as being an answer to being an answer to KOTOR necessarily.
You might be right. A KOTOR remake was on the books for a little while, but that all fell apart. Well, I mean, we think it's all falling apart. There are rumors out there that a company called Saber Interactive is still working on developing a reboot of KOTOR, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also rumors out there that says nobody's working on the game.
Right.
KOTOR just now celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Wow.
So,
20 years.
Getting a little long in the tooth, and probably it would be appropriate to reboot it with something new or remake it or what have you. But I don't know of any other real movement going on. There was actually a screenplay in development by Lieta Kalogridis, a screenwriter, and that went belly up somewhere like 5 years ago. Haven't heard anything about it since then. So it's just like in developmental hell right now as far as a KOTOR remake. But I'm pretty sure that Lucasfilm is aware of the value of KOTOR and the potential of remaking it and bringing it back for new audiences who I think would embrace it. I mean, games of that nature are pretty popular these days, those big, I don't know what you call them, wide open games or whatever they're called. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't think it's dead yet. I think there's still a pulse. As faint as it may be, I think there's a pulse. Now, KOTOR or High Republic. I don't think it really comes down to that. High Republic is strictly, at least as of right now, it's a publishing thing, and we'll be seeing that world in live action when the Acolyte debuts. But for the most part, it doesn't cross over into the video game world at all. Mm-mm. So I think there's still a bunch of room for a KOTOR remake. But those rumors, they just come and go. And
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if when they were developing the High Republic that they had dreams and ideas of it going into video games. But these video games now, they're as expensive as a feature film. In some cases more expensive than some feature films. So that'd be a huge gamble. So I think the closest we're going to get to something like that is going to be in this series, The Acolyte. So
yeah.
All right. Don't forget 708-866-1737. That is the number to call. Let's take our next caller. I know this guy. How about Blake? Hey, Blake.
Kid Blake.
Hey, chut.
Chut, buddy.
His voice hasn't changed yet. Yes.
Oh, we keep waiting. Keep waiting for that penny to drop. What's on your mind tonight, bud?
Well, I've got a couple different things that I want to talk about.
All right, you're going to throw out some topics. And by the way, if you like or don't like what Blake says, you can give us a call later and you can rebut. Not FJ. FJ's not eligible to call, but anyone else other than FJ DeSanto. So what do you got, bud?
Yeah. No FJ. No FJ, because he'll go off and he'll get mad that he lost.
Wow, listen to him throwing down.
Kind of gloating a little bit, maybe. Good for you, Blake. Soak it all in.
So whenever you guys earlier were showing the list of like the names and the release dates of the Bad Batch episodes and stuff.
Yeah.
The final, episode 15, the episode name is The Cavalry Has Arrived.
Yes.
And that's one of Wrecker's catchphrases, is The Cavalry Has Arrived.
Oh, he's the cavalry has arrived. So we've heard him say this before. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, and
he has a catchphrase. I forgot that Wrecker had a catchphrase.
He has a bunch of different ones. But for his costume that they used for that they sold at Disney for like a Halloween costume, it like plays different voices, like different catchphrases he says, and one of the main ones that go over and over is The Cavalry Has Arrived.
Cavalry has arrived. Good,
That's a good
observation, Blake. I like it.
Also, I'm noticing that
So
episode
I'm
12
thinking it has
is
something
called...
to do with him.
Say that again, Blake.
I think that the episode has something to do with Wrecker. I don't know. There might be something bad that happens to Wrecker.
Oh, you think that's a bad omen by naming the episode after his, like it could be a tribute, a memoriam, an
kind of.
Oh, an R.I.P. Wow, that's dark. We just went to a dark place. Blake's take, getting pretty morbid here, predicting the end of Wrecker. Hence,
Cavalry has arrived and got smoked.
It might not be the end of him, but he might get like where he can't do something. Like,
well, hopefully he won't be walking around with one of those season. Hopefully he won't be walking around with one of those season 1 headaches. Oh, my head, it hurts.
My head.
Yeah, so something bad could happen to Wrecker in that last episode, hence the tribute. Well, that's a really good observation. What else you got to lay on us?
So I have one more thing about the Bad Batch. And so in last season, Tech supposedly dies.
Right. Supposedly.
But I still think he's not dead. Like they showed him off in the trailer, him falling from the cliff, from the zip line kind of thing.
Right.
But they didn't show it. They just showed him falling.
Right. And all
So
they could
I don't
produce
think
were his
he hasn't
goggles.
survived.
Just his goggles is all they, Remember that? He's like, oh, that was the proof that he was dead.
But yeah, but that's kind of what most deaths happen, is they find one thing and they might be dead, but there's a highly chance that they're not dead at the same time.
Well, you know who is not dead, Blake? Asajj Ventress. She's not dead. Everyone thought she was.
That was crazy.
Everyone thought she died from Dooku's lightning. But
yeah, whenever I was on, we had a snow day whenever the trailer released. So my dad was home with me too. He was working from home since there was like a whole. They had to make sure no one went to work.
We had a snow
and
day
stuff.
too. Yeah, snow day. And snow day and the Bad Batch trailer drops. That's a great day.
Yeah, so I was sitting in my room and I was playing, and he's like, there's a trailer for Bad Batch Season 3. I was like, what? So I go in and I'm watching it. And the ending with Asajj Ventress, I was freaking out.
Yeah? Do you like Asajj?
I did not expect that at all.
Are you a fan? Because we all know that your blood runs dark. Blake. We know that you're a dark sider at heart, so I would imagine that Asajj Ventress is right up your alley.
Yeah, she's pretty cool with her.
All right, so those are some good observations. So your prediction is that Tech is not dead, but Wrecker might be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, buddy. Always good to, yeah?
I wanted to, so the what ifs.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like.
Yeah, Jimmy Mack had like
about
12, like right off the dome the other last week. What if scenarios?
Yeah, I came up with some that would be pretty cool to have, too.
Oh, lay them on us. What ifs? That's another good topic. If you got some what ifs, give us a call, 708-866-1737.
So one of them that I was thinking of is like, what if a different bounty hunter, besides Boba Fett, a different one, got Han in Empire? Like if it was like Dengar or IG or...
Well, IG did get him, I believe. I believe in Shadows of the Empire, or at least IG battled it out with Boba, if my memory serves. Boba ends up with Han. We know that he wins, obviously, but at one point they do battle. But what if you're saying? What if it was Dengar or IG made it all the way to Jabba's palace, delivering Han Solo? Wow.
I don't think IG would deliver it to Jabba. He'd probably just give it to Vader, but Vader, he wants Luke. He didn't want Han, but they used Han to see if the carbon freezing chamber worked.
Yeah.
Make sure that was tested right.
Yeah, so why would IG... IG wouldn't take him to Vader, because Vader gave him up.
Yeah, IG would probably IG would be the one to take him to Jabba.
Jabba, yeah.
Dengar, on the other hand, would take him to... he'd probably also take him to Jabba, yeah.
Yeah, it was all about... Jabba had the money. Jabba was the one that was offering the credits. Yeah.
And we spot Dengar in Jabba's palace.
Yeah, he was hanging.
After Han Solo was delivered.
Yeah.
So,
all right, buddy. Thanks a lot, Blake. Always good to hear from you. Don't forget about the Bad Batch after shows Wednesday night.
I have some what ifs. I have some what ifs here from listeners.
Max got some what ifs. Thanks, Kyle.
Yes. This comes from Gary from Winnipeg. Very long time listener, Gary. What if Padme joined Anakin on the dark side?
I would get into that. I'd get into some dark side Padme.
He shows up in black leather and she's like, oh, I'm down with this.
Yeah.
What if Shmi Skywalker went with Anakin and left Tatooine? That's a good one. I always understood.
That's a real good one. Yeah, why didn't she go? Well, I guess they weren't really, they weren't into the whole family thing at the Jedi Temple.
True, yes. I'm sure Qui-Gon and the rest of the Jedi Council would have considered Shmi to be something of a distraction.
Oh, yeah.
And also she was probably had that explosive planted in her somewhere that if she did try to leave, Watto would have blown her up.
Boom.
Boom. What if Jango defeated Mace Windu in the Geonosis arena? Probably still end up with the same results, Yeah,
but we would have gotten rid of Mace Windu. Well, wait a minute. There would have been a domino effect.
I guess there would have
Windu
been.
out of the picture. I'd have loved that. Yeah, I'm not a big Mace Windu fan.
Mace is the first one, though, to suggest to the Jedi that a Sith Lord was behind everything. So they might have still been like feeling around in the dark if it wasn't for Mace.
Yeah.
What really happens if Luke joins the dark side differently than the comics? Because, of course, this has been explored in the comic books a little bit. What if Darth Maul defeated Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Darth Maul defeated Obi-Wan. Oh.
By that time, Anakin had already been delivered. Oh, no. Anakin was there in the battle.
Yeah.
So he was far from safety at that point as well.
there would have been nobody to train Anakin. There would have been nobody to lobby for Anakin to be trained. So Qui-Gon would be dead. No one would have made the pledge to Qui-Gon because Obi-Wan is dead. Maybe, yeah, what would Anakin have done? He'd had to go back to Tatooine.
So that's from Gary from Winnipeg. Dwayne from Virginia says he throws away like actual story ideas, and he just says, what if George Lucas wrote and directed the sequel trilogy?
There's my what if. There's my what if. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like this from David in the chat. He says, what if Andor and Jyn found a shuttle and survived Rogue One? I'd be into that. I like both those characters a lot. But
they probably just would have returned. They would have just returned probably to the rebellion, and then Jyn
back
would
to
have
the Alliance.
Yeah, and then Jyn would have maybe been elevated to general or something. Who knows?
Right.
Here's one from Martin. What if Order 66 failed? Like those, the clones didn't comply with the orders.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's real interesting. You know, a lot of these what ifs are contingent. You know, our mind goes to what if something went wrong for the good guys a lot of times. That's where our head goes. This is interesting. This is, well, what if things didn't go so well for the bad guys in this case? And Order 66 didn't happen.
And then this last what if I'm going to throw at you. I'm going to do it just to see how quickly you can respond with the sound effect.
Oh, no.
What if the Eope on Tatooine never farted? So that was pretty fast. Swank did not know. He did not know I was going to mention a farting Eope. But, I mean, rapid fire. It was just, that was brilliant. Thank you, Swank.
Yes, you're welcome. Howard. All right, back to the calls we go. Let's talk to Kyle from Georgia. By the way, there are more lines open. Look at Tyler just mailing it in, sitting there, not doing anything. Look at Tyler here. Look at this guy, not doing anything. Come on. Oh, maybe he is. Maybe he is. I don't know. All right, Kyle's on. Kyle, you're on with Rebel Force Radio. How are things in Georgia?
Yeah, I've been waiting for my. Oh, it's actually it fluctuates quite drastically between cold one day and then needing to turn on the air conditioner the next day.
Kyle, would you please define cold in Georgia?
60 degrees.
It is not quite the same as where you guys are from. It is definitely not the same. Our type of cold, you just need a light jacket.
All right. Well, we're glad you called. What's up?
I've been waiting for my first live call to finally say chut chut.
Well,
good.
we gotta chut right back at you.
Chut.
Let me just before we get into this with Kyle, I got to point out a funny back and forth on the chat. Connor says hair trigger on that button, Jason, and then Jeffrey says that wasn't a button.
Well played, gentlemen. Well played. I will never tell. All right, back to Kyle. Kyle, enough potty humor. What am I, George Lucas?
I actually sent an email to you guys over this past weekend for what I was going to ask. But when y'all announced this, I was like, why not, take a chance on the live call?
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
I've been rewatching the Clone Wars, and after every episode I watch, I've been listening to the declassified episodes, and I just finished season 3. And obviously, the much debated Mortis trilogy there in that. And it got me thinking about the Ahsoka show of how, can Ahsoka die? She died in the Mortis trilogy. We're led to believe she died in the Ahsoka show. And then when I was talking to Tyler before getting to you guys, he reminded me of how, it seemed like she may have died in the Rebels. So, is she a cat? I mean, how many lives does she have? And
she a loft cat?
Yeah. And, which also gets me to think, will we see eventually, whatever the history may be in the Filoni movie, anything going where we see a final death for Ahsoka, is she dead in general? You know, depending on how Twi'lek's age, is she going to be an old lady at some point? Will we see her talking with Rey? You know, it's just a bunch of questions. Just curious to hear you guys on it.
I have to correct you. She is a Togrutan, not a Twi'lek. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy right now, just because I can. It's so rare when I can do that. Usually it's Matt correcting me. There's definitely some sort of spiritual symbolism going on with Ahsoka. I think Filoni plays with us a little bit, and that there is a connection. I think what happened on Mortis is going to have ramifications. What those are exactly, I don't know, but I definitely think there's some sort of spiritual lesson with respect to Ahsoka, and I wouldn't be surprised if this does end up, when we talk about the series Ahsoka, that it does end up where Ahsoka and Anakin potentially replace the son and the daughter in Mortis in some way. Whether they're the son and the daughter, or whether Anakin is the father and Ahsoka is the daughter, and somehow maybe Jason Syndulla ends up as the son. I don't know, but I think that there's definitely a path to something like this.
I don't know. I think a story being crafted like that should have, if you're going to make Anakin the father, it only makes sense to have Leia be the daughter and Luke be the son. So now we're, substituting, it almost feels like.
Yeah.
However, Ahsoka does have the equity with Mortis. She knows what's going on there. And it's really interesting because Baylan Skoll is searching out these clues throughout season 1 of Ahsoka, but he doesn't know, it doesn't seem like he knows what he's looking for, or we just hear reference to children's tales and stuff. And I think when he's saying that, he is directly referencing Mortis. But, making Mortis was a specific place, right? Or a specific dimension. I don't know. Paradia doesn't really lend itself to actually being Mortis. So maybe Paradia is like some portal into Mortis.
Right. Because I think Filoni said you couldn't jump in a starship and go to Mortis.
Right.
Mortis is not, it doesn't work that way. So that's a good point. You would need some sort of, you would need a portal or something.
And did the events on Mortis actually occur? Did Ahsoka actually die? Or is this all just part of a big vision? Because a lot of things happen on Mortis. Anakin slips to the dark side. There's a lot of different things that's happening there that really don't have as much of an impact on the story following it, outside of in like a metaphorical sort of way.
Do they ever even mention Mortis again?
No.
But
no, in Rebels, they get mentioned. Yes, in Rebels.
Do they name drop Mortis in Rebels?
Yes,
they do. Okay,
yes.
But clearly, they would have to in another season of Ahsoka, because we see the statues of the Mortis gods. So at some point, they're gonna name check Mortis. I would assume.
Yeah, you'd have to think.
Yeah,
and maybe even give us a little more clarity on the whole situation.
I mean, to your point, Kyle, about, is she dead? I'll be honest, and maybe if we've got some real diehard Tolkien fans out here, you could let us know. But I mean, Filoni is clearly taking inspiration.
Yeah, she's Gandalf.
Right, she's Gandalf. And I never read the novels, saw all the films when they came out in the theater, and rewatched them many times, and I still don't really understand the Gandalf the White. Did the Balrog kill him? What kind of ascension did he have? So I know they're different franchises, but we also know that Filoni is taking a lot of inspiration from that. So there could be some clues in there.
Well, even visually with the movie of when Gandalf is reflecting back on how he basically died, how he wakes up, and he's Gandalf the White, he's like catching his breath.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar to in the Ahsoka series
Yes.
when she, they have the close up on her face of her waking up, as Ahsoka the White now,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That even the visual representation in the film is of a similar nature. But we're gonna throw the topic out there. What do you think? Those of you out there listening about Ahsoka, if you got an opinion about, is she dead? Is she alive? Is she something in between? Let us know. Thank you, Kyle. Stay warm there in Georgia, Kyle. Bundle up.
Might get down to 65 degrees tonight.
But no, it's a great topic. Good topic. Also, we have some what ifs on the table. So if you want to respond to those, let's go over to Brian. We got a first time caller, it sounds like. Brian from Virginia. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Chut. First time calling in.
All right. Give you a little bell. All right. Glad to have you.
A little bell.
Hey. Glad to be here. Just checking in, making sure Jimmy Mack making sure that the Trapper Wolf helmet fit.
Oh, was this Brian who got us
my son Declan?
Yeah, okay, Brian.
Yeah.
You're the one that hooked us up with the helmet. So Mac, have you cracked it open? Is it you have?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's actually on the shelf right now. I haven't loaded it up with all the padding and everything, but it's really, really cool, and I thank you so much for it. I really appreciate it. They were on sale at Ollie's for like $25, and I don't have really a local Ollie's, so you saved my life here with this thing, and it's just really cool to have that as a sort of physical representation of us wolf packers here, me and Swank, beyond my tattoo.
Yeah, you, me, Steve Sansweet, and Bonnie Burton. I think we're the only Wolfpack members before.
Yeah, Dave had built 15 of the plaques with a patch and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know what happened after after Bonnie got let into the group. Then Lucasfilm put the kibosh on the whole thing. Leave it to old BB Bonnie Burton to derail it, But no, she's definitely worthy of being a member there, and somebody who I think is very important to a certain era of Star Wars. And I'm glad that she's been immortalized as a member of the Wolf Pack, along with you, me, and Steve Sansweet.
So what you got for us, Brian?
I had a rewatch of The Rise of Skywalker last night. I just had a couple of things to throw out. The movie itself, I was talking to Tyler about it. The movie itself is very, very fast. And to me, this is actually, y'all were talking about, completing your physical copies of the movies, which is good to have with The Mandalorian coming out. I finally finished my physical copy of the Rise of Skywalker. So I watched it last night.
Mm-hmm.
It goes very, very fast. It only lasts, the time frame that Poe says is 16 hours. It's like, we've only got 16 hours. Same as The Last Jedi was kind of like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to throw out some hope, for these sequel characters. I think if they get a good director and a good story, these guys acted pretty good. You can tell they were trying their best to act as best as they could through the movies. And now that, we're facing the original characters not being there so much per se, they got to give these guys a little bit of hope to hope they'll pull out and to make a better.
I think you make two really
movie in the future.
I think you make two really good points, Brian. One is that these actors, and none of them were mailing it in. I think Daisy, John Boyega, and Poe, his name just flew out of my head, Oscar Isaac. I think they all wanted to make something great. And I don't have a problem with any of their performances. I think they were doing exactly what they were instructed to do on the page and what they were being directed to do on the soundstage and on location. So I agree with you there. I would say I think that most of them had really poor arcs and they weren't really fulfilling. But the second point you have is you're like, okay, you're basically saying with the legacy characters out of the way, what are these characters capable of doing? And I think you bring up a good point. If we're not distracted by, now keep in mind, I think the legacy characters were handled pretty poorly in the sequel trilogy, but what's done is done. It's water under the bridge. All right. So we don't have them. So are these characters capable of figuring into a really compelling Star Wars story? I think so. I think Rey and Finn are. So yeah, I think that's reason to feel positive. And you bring and as you said, with maybe a better, it's hard to say a better director than J.J. Abrams. I think J.J. Abrams is technically a fantastic director, but I think it all comes down to the story. I think it comes down to the screenplay more so than the direction.
It was done too. They were just too fast. I think they were rushed. I mean, probably Abrams,
well, he begged for more time. He got more time on that first one.
Feels like.
And then I think, did he get more time for the third one too? Did he?
No, I don't think so. I think they stuck to that landing there in December 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
So no, he definitely had to lobby hard to get the Force Awakens pushed back from a summer release date to December 2015. This I know. And, he barely was able to finish it. In that case, he was barely able to finish it.
Right. Yeah, he was up against it. He was up against it. That's for sure. What else is giving you hope, Brian? I like this positivity. I love this vibe that you're throwing out. I also love that you're a physical media guy. So what else is giving you hope these days in the future of Star Wars, despite internet rumors and this is canceled and this is postponed indefinitely and Kathleen Kennedy's been fired and I mean just the constant onslaught of the same old stuff.
Well, there was an interview article I read today. Daisy was being interviewed, and it was interesting though that they said that this movie that they're thinking about may not have Finn or Poe with it. But I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, well, if according to the Rise of Skywalker and our favorite Lando goes out and says, "How did you do it?" He said, "Hey, we had each other."
Mm-hmm.
I can't do Lando, of course. That's what he said though, and I was like, well, that would make that movie. It would make that movie to have the three of them together, and they did when they had that scene. They had the scene that we were all hoping for with the original cast, that they were all get back together in the cockpit of the Falcon. But if you notice, the majority of the characters are all together in that one little mission that they're on. I think R2 was left behind, but
yep. And that was some of the most enjoyable moments, of I think of that film was having spent two other movies with them, was that they were finally together on a mission, having an adventure together. That I did appreciate that stuff, but I was just
the music.
Sure.
The remark on the music. I mean, John Williams. What an amazing performance by John Williams. I got to get the soundtrack for the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
let's complete that.
The score.
I haven't gotten that one yet.
Hard to say why. For me, it's not as sticky. But then again, I haven't gone and rewatched these movies over and over and over and over and over and over again, like I did the originals and even the prequels. So I think, obviously the classic trilogy in terms of Williams' work is the gold standard. It's the best. Then I would have to go prequel trilogy, and then I would have to go sequel trilogy. I don't hear as much of that kind of audio alchemy, that deconstructing themes and reconstructing new themes like he did with the prequels. I don't hear that as much in the sequels, but then again, you know, I'm not a musicologist, so I can't say that doesn't exist in the sequel scores, but nonetheless, I'll take any John Williams, you know. So thanks very much, Brian. Great topics, and appreciate the call. You know, he's not the only one that's been rediscovering these movies over the holidays. They've been on TV, and other people are flipping around and seeing them, and they're landing on them, and I think there will be a reassessment. We're always reassessing the Star Wars films, but I think the sequels will have their day. Someone was asking me recently if they'll have the same kind of nostalgic impact or rebound as the prequels have had, and I think they will for certain Star Wars fans. I don't think they'll have the same kind of cross-cultural groundswell, but when you look as far as Star Wars fans, they will, because look at how the Clone Wars has done it. Look at how my God, there's a Rebels generation now, and then there's some of the noisiest. We love you, Rebels generation, but you're some of the loudest of all of them. We get it. You loved Rebels, okay, right? They probably think the same of us in our love of the originals.
Well, you know, over the course of time, things will just be forgotten. Like the mismanagement of the sequel trilogy, the dysfunction within Lucasfilm, the false starts, the hemming and the hawing and the wishy-washiness and all of that. It'll be forgotten. You know, new fans who haven't even been born yet will discover Star Wars in the future, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road. And they'll be more interested in trying to soak in as much of the story as they can. And, you know, by that point, then the films and stories will live and die truly based on their own merits. And a lot of the noise and distraction that goes on around the release of anything from Star Wars nowadays, it'll be forgotten. It will be. I mean,
that's a really good point. That all of that static around it will drop off, and the films will stand on their own without that baggage.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Bond franchise. Do people obsess over Roger Moore's first appearance as James Bond, or the fact that in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it's not Sean Connery? Do people still agonize over that? New fans who didn't grow up during the releases of those films? No,
it's just another Bond movie that they watch. Right. And they're like, oh, that's the one where the guy only did one. That's what it is now.
Yeah. Timothy Dalton, all of them along. Even more recently, Pierce Brosnan, which some of his stuff gets heavily criticized, in the moment. But nowadays, you can go back and look at those films and not get bogged down by all the discourse that originally surrounded the release of those films. I think the same is going to happen with Star Wars.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phones. We got David from Boston. Hey, David, welcome to Rebel Force Radio.
Yeah, hey guys, how you doing?
Chut.
Good, David.
Yeah, I was talking with Tyler. He said he was going to throw you guys a curveball tonight with the Hall of Fame announcement the other day, and I've never heard you talk about going to a Star Wars night at a major league ballpark. And in Boston, they started it right when the sequel trilogy happened. So I've been going for I just got the invite for the tickets, the other day. And have you ever guys gone to a Star Wars theme night at a major league ballpark? Or
yeah,
I've never heard you talk about it.
Well, there's a great video of me at Star Wars Day at the White Sox game it's from several years back now. But I knew the White Sox organization really enjoyed the video. They let me know. I was so proud of that. And I went with my son who was young.
So I didn't know if you were a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan. And I figure you're probably an Indians fan, right? Or Guardians now.
Swank doesn't know a home run from a strikeout, so don't keep him out of this
ask me.
discussion.
Don't ask me. That's why.
Come on, he's got to see Darth Vader. He has to see Darth Vader throw.
He's lived in that region his whole life. Swank has lived in that region his whole life and only went to his first Indians game last year. So that tells you what kind of fan he is. Now me, I'm a diehard baseball fan. I take MLB very seriously, and I think it was 2015.
As do I.
I went with my son to the Sox game, and we got there early. We received some bobblehead dolls and participated in a parade on the warning track going around the entire field. And I was with my son. He was dressed as Captain Phasma, wearing a White Sox hoodie, and I was wearing my Mark Echo Chewbacca coat and with a bandolier and everything.
Oh, there you go.
And I remember we were walking by. I want to say the White Sox were playing Minnesota. Yes, they were playing Minnesota that day. And as I was walking by the Twins dugout, their sideline reporter, who was just probably the most gorgeous woman in the ballpark, she says to me as I'm walking by in the dead heat of August sun, wearing a fur coat with the hood up, as Chewbacca, she goes, "Oh my God, how hot are you?" Let me finish. She goes, "Oh my God, how hot are you?" And I said, "Not nearly as hot as you are, baby."
Star Wars Day. The Force is strong with us.
Got the video playing right here, so we can see a little bit of this.
Oh man, I can't see it. I'm in my car.
Well, you could check it out on our YouTube channel. And there was all kind of great cosplaying going on and stuff. Look at this. I shot and edited this all by myself. That's a pretty damn good job, if you ask me. Well, obviously someone else shot this part as I'm putting on the Chewbacca.
I'm so talented that I can be in it.
I forget who's there. I think Tyler was there with me. And I know Christian Mocht was there, hoarding every bobblehead he could find. You know, like stealing bobbleheads from young children and everything like that.
You gonna use that?
You see, here's the Mando mashups. And there's Mocht wearing his Cub Mando at the Sox game. Just like, I'm like, don't even stand near me, guy. Just get away from me with that stuff. You know, because here in Chicago, there's a very strong boundary between being a White Sox fan and being a Cub fan. And you see my young son back there, Dylan. He's dressed as Captain Phasma. There he is. He must have been
Dark Lord of the Sith here, too.
10 years old or something. It's just crazy to look back at some of this footage.
Hey, look at Palpatine. Prequel
That's a good Palpatine. Yeah, so again, you can check all this out on our YouTube channel. And it was a whole lot of fun. David, have you ever been to any games where you say you're from Boston? You're going to see Star Wars Day at the Red Sox game? Oops, my bandolier slipped.
Yeah, I've been to the first one they started at Fenway. So actually, the first year it was great. They gave like a Death Star baseball, which was awesome.
That's great.
Oops,
That's
I lost
great.
you.
You know, Christian Mocht has a collection.
You guys still there? Did I lose you?
Yeah, we're still here. We're still here. Christian Mocht has
I'll have to send you a picture of the Death Star baseball. You'll love it. And they did like Jedi Mookie Bits, Xander Calrissian for Xander Bogaerts.
Right.
They did the Mandalorian JD Martinez. Yeah, it's been fun.
Well, everyone knows the real Sox are in Chicago, so I won't fault you on that, David. But
yeah, the Black Sox.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, actually, you know, the funny thing about the Black Sox, that whole World Series thing was thrown at the Buckminster Hotel right near Fenway Park. That's where that whole grift for that series happened. Well,
That's
I'll
where
let
all
you
the
guys get
negotiations
going.
went down with the
As I said-
gangsters.
Yep.
Well, I do.
and
You know,
another
I have a lot of
my
fun at these
mom
games.
is-
I'm sorry. We got, David's in the car. I think
We're
got
going to
an
let
extra
David go
long
because he's
delay.
doing his own show, I think. It's like all of a sudden we were on David's show.
Isn't it funny how that happens sometimes? It's the way it goes. So let's see. Let's see if we have. Let's see, Brian. Oh, Brian is on the line here from New York. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Jimmy. How you doing?
All right, man.
Hey, Brian.
So I was thinking about how some of the complaints about the sequel trilogy were that they should, in particular, The Force Awakens, that it was a little too reminiscent of the original trilogy and A New Hope. And now that we've seen the first season of Ahsoka, I was wondering what you guys would think if the first season of Ahsoka had actually been what The Force Awakens was based off of. Like, instead of the whole Rey story, that the sequel trilogy's first movie was basically the first season of Ahsoka, and that was what the sequel trilogy was going to be based off of. And from there, the next two films would continue on from what we saw in the first season, and sequel trilogy would basically be the Ahsoka show, or instead of what we got.
Yeah. So how would we have felt if Ahsoka was sort of the future of Star Wars, the focal point of a sequel trilogy, instead of creating something 30 years later? I think that would have been challenging, because one of the reasons they set the film 30 years post is because the actors were 30 years post. And those actors, we thought at the time, were going to be extraordinarily, well, they were relevant. I mean, I can't say they weren't relevant to the plot. They were. I might not like the direction they took them. So, but those characters were way too important, and getting those actors was really a huge part of doing the movies to begin with. So I think that would have made it difficult to have Ahsoka be for this era of Ahsoka to be told as part of the sequel trilogy. So it's hard for me to go there with you. I know you're asking a what if, but that's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is kind of tough.
Well, we did see Luke, though, in the Mandalorian season 2 with Ahsoka. Right. So he was de-aged, of course, but we did have him with Ahsoka.
Now, okay, now I'm starting to come around. So you're what I'm feeling then is, okay, what if it would have been this, and you would have had original trilogy actors coming back and being de-aged with the tech that we have now, etc., and telling an Ahsoka story? I'd probably be down. I'd probably be down with that.
Direction.
I'd probably be down with that. I mean, there was a part of me that really loved the whole angle of 30 years post, new characters. I mean, I know I've mentioned this before, but to me, it was like, I thought I was going to see the birth of Star Wars: The Next Generation, and that it was going to be a handoff. And it was. It wasn't the handoff I wanted or was expecting. So yeah, I guess I don't fault them for going 30 years post and wanting to get some track between the two trilogies. I think a 5-year gap after a 30-some year gap in terms of real time would have been too much. So I'm going to say I wouldn't have liked it. I'll put it that way. I think I wouldn't have necessarily been down with it. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't have liked the movie. The movie doesn't exist. So, and it would, and dude, it would have to be, I like a lot of Ahsoka, but it would have to have been better than Ahsoka season 1. It would have to have.
Well, actually, I actually had one more question for you guys, and it's in reference to what you just said, because I know that during your after shows, you in particular, Jason, were saying that you felt like the dialogue was missing a bit, and that it was a little thin, like on the substance of the show. And I was wondering, up till now, we thought of the dream team at Disney sort of as Favreau, Filoni, as those two guys coming together and giving us what we wanted from Star Wars. But now that we've seen Rogue One and we've seen Andor, and a lot of us were really impressed with both of those, considering that the problem with Ahsoka was the lack of detail and dialogue and connecting the dots, what if the dream team was actually could be Filoni and Gilroy? What if those two got together on a show and Filoni kind of was the big picture guy? He made it more, because at the Andor, what was missing was not Star Warsy enough, but Filoni is all about Star Wars. So it seems like they're both kind of have what the other person doesn't have. So what if they came together and Filoni was the big picture guy bringing in the Star Wars, and then Tony Gilroy was connecting the dots, doing the dialogue, and then those melting of minds maybe could make something pretty remarkable, I think.
I personally don't think Dave Filoni would be able to keep up with Tony Gilroy in the writer's room. That's what I believe. I think Gilroy has a very specific way about how he attacks this material when he's developing it. And I think Dave Filoni would provide nothing more than a distraction to Tony Gilroy, if you really want to know the honest to God truth. Again, this is all just like a what if scenario and everything. But, while some ideas might look good on paper, we're talking about human beings, and chemistry is a very elusive element when it comes to the creative process. And I just don't think that Dave and Gilroy would mesh like that. I could be wrong. And I would be very open to an experiment like that if they wanted to carry forward with something like that. But I don't know. I think Gilroy might feel like he would be giving up too much to be under the thumb of the studio, which is, I'm sure that's how Tony would look at it. Because I keep coming up with all these great ideas, and this Filoni guy is giving me notes about Sabine and Mandalorians and stuff. I mean, this is crazy, So
yeah, if you look at if you look at Rogue One, yes, it fits in really nicely. Obviously, it butts up to against A New Hope really well, but there are some centerpiece moments that happen that are like big time Star Wars canon, but for the most part, it's kind of a standalone story. I mean, the interaction between the crew and the characters. I mean, I think that's where Gilroy really shines. I think the reason that Rogue One was as Star Warsy as it was is because of Gareth Edwards, and Gilroy really tightened it and made it
story.
Work better. Yeah.
He made it work better.
Yeah.
So maybe in a scenario like that, if Filoni put it together and then Gilroy came in to fix it,
tighten the screws.
But then I see Dave Filoni pushing back on that.
Yeah,
I mentored with George Lucas, and Tony Gilroy's coming in there and he's shifting everything up, and so. It's that elusive chemistry factor, which I think would really be put to the test if you got Tony Gilroy and Dave Filoni working on a project together. I think they'd both be going in two different directions, and it would be hard for them to find common ground.
I will say, Brian, I agree with you that the direction that you're going, which is that I think Dave needs to be the big picture story guy, but I'm not sold on him as the technician in terms of the writing the screenplay and directing the piece. I don't know. I like the idea of him in a more George Lucas type role. He needs to find his Irvin Kershner.
I would like to see Filoni develop something for Star Wars that doesn't have the safety net of all the stories he's previously told. I would like to see Dave come in with something fresh, giving us a ground zero for a story that doesn't require watching 5 different animated series and 3 streaming series and stuff. And I know that Disney is nervous about that too, in the wake of the Marvels, which required a whole hell of a lot of homework for a lot of fans. Now, I didn't see the Marvels, so I can't really, make a quality statement on that, but that's a complaint I've been hearing from a lot of people, was that you had to have seen all these other streaming series to even get a grasp of what was happening in the Marvels. So I think Disney sees this in the box office numbers, and they're like, no, we have to make this stuff more consumable for the audience, for all the audience, not just the diehards.
Star Wars is a mainstream product. Star Wars
and that was
is a
the
mainstream product.
The biggest complaint we heard about Ahsoka was it required you knew so much background information from cartoon shows.
Yeah. Brian, great call. Thanks very much. Good,
was a good
topic. Let's go. Let's see. Justin from Phoenix. Justin. Hey, you're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank
Justin.
you.
Hey, I wanted to pick your guys' brain since we just saw Anakin come back in Ahsoka. I know all of us were super excited to see Hayden, but it just made me so happy to see him come back after seeing him in Rebels and the legacy that he left in Clone Wars. I wanted to know what you guys thought, or where you'd like to see the legacy, the in-universe legacy of Anakin Skywalker going forward in the season 2 of Ahsoka, and perhaps after that, what you guys like to see. Because I love Anakin Skywalker so much. The empathy, the kindness, and just he's such a great character, such a great warrior, wears his heart on the sleeve. That particular aspect of that character, I would love to see explored more. I want to know what you guys thought.
I'd like to hear him say yippee a little more often to tie it into the Jake Lloyd characterization. No, I'm kidding.
Can you imagine coaching him like, hey, Hayden, can you give us a little more Jake Lloyd with this line? Like,
we had always talked about how cool it would be to see a spiritual Jedi Council working with the living Jedi. I always thought that would be a cool idea, and I think that's maybe where the whole Mortis thing is heading. If we're going to be replacing the father with Anakin, and then the son and daughter with Ahsoka, or who was the one they said, Syndulla's kid, Jason Syndulla. I think that would be an interesting way to start down that road of having these Jedi spirits who are a little more accessible for characters like Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra. I could see them being, really great guide. And then when they would make an appearance, it would be so huge, like when the spirit of Ben would talk to Luke in the original trilogy. Those were huge moments. I mean, each one of them is a huge moment. So I would like to see that being encapsulated by these characters should they move forward by becoming Mortis gods or a spiritual Jedi council, or even just, Jedi spirits just popping in from time to time, laying down some knowledge in a very profound way and setting the characters on particular courses of action.
Thinking about Anakin and if Hayden keeps up with this, and if they find really good reasons to bring Anakin back as a Force ghost or as a Mortis god or something, if you got enough of that story, it would be wild years and years later to go back and then see his origin. I mean, it would just completely change the character and make that whole saga, the tragedy of Darth Vader, of Anakin Skywalker, all that more profound. So very cool stuff. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it very much. I think we got time for one more call. So let's check in with our pal from Fond du Lac. It's Rich. Hey, Rich. Thanks for waiting, bud.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great, man. Doing great. Just talking to our Patreon peeps.
Good to hear.
Yeah, great conversation.
Yeah. So I have to call Jimmy out. I'm sorry. because he said Mortis wasn't mentioned anymore in Clone Wars after the arc. Season 6, episode 11, at 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Jeez. Could you be more specific, Rich?
Yoda asks Anakin about talking to Qui-Gon on Mortis, and
it's in that Yoda episode, right? When he when he sees himself as evil Yoda at one point.
This one's called Voices. I think it's the first of the Yoda arc. So,
that's a great one. I think I watched it twice.
Yeah. So
got to go back and revisit some of these.
I know. For years, Jimmy and I have been arguing about if Mortis is the real deal, but it's the real deal. And
what do you mean when you say it's the real deal?
How can you so definitively say that? How can you definitively say that?
Because Yoda talks about it in the actual non-dream universe. Well, it has to be, you know?
But it's totally apparent that other characters understand Mortis. It's been mentioned throughout the history of the Jedi. That's been stated. It gets talked about a lot in Rebels Season 4 when they discover that portal to the world between worlds. There's that Imperial researcher who knows a lot about it. So knowledge of it. But it's like we talk about God in heaven here on planet Earth, but there's no definitive answer about that. It's all based on faith, and Jedi faith is what promotes the whole Mortis idea. But is it actually a place? Is it a dimension? Is it some place you can actually go? Is it? So I've always resisted the Force being a place you can visit. That doesn't seem to work for me.
I know. I remember.
I think you beat him down, Jim. I think you won. I think he's laying down there.
You can't
gasping.
give us a definitive. Rich, you made a statement, but you can't back it up with anything. So.
Well,
just because Yoda knows of it,
I think because it's talked about, I guess I don't know. It requires faith.
It does require faith. Yes, it requires. Yes, it absolutely requires faith. You can talk about something in the real world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the thing you're talking about in the real world is a real place. But I get you. You know, Rich. I know you're one of those. You're one of those Mortis lovers. I know
he has faith.
And he has faith. Wow. We love it. And we love Fond du Lac, and we love you, and thanks for your support.
We love Wisconsin cheese curds, all of that. Yes.
We do. Rich is a great guy. All right. Well, what a great fun time we had. Great calls. And I'll tell you what, also, a great call screener. I mean, what are great calls without a great call screener? And we had a fantastic one and our buddy Tyler Page. So, Tyler, thank you so much for lining them up for us.
Yeah, I got a lot of good ones. You know, David and I were talking baseball for a little while back there. And
David has his own sports talk show. He does it from his car. And no, we're giving David a hard time.
But he mentioned something that he didn't bring up in the call. You know, there's that Lucas connection to the Dark Disciple book, and that in the unpremiered Clone Wars episode, which is Katie Lucas. You know, and that's maybe
Katie
there's
Lucas. That's right.
Some loose George connections there.
Think she got some story points from the old man?
I hope. And then one thing that was interesting to me is that there's 16 episodes of season 1, The Bad Batch, 16 episodes of season 2, and then 15 of season 3. That just doesn't seem right to me. I feel like maybe they're going to spring a 16th on us somewhere.
You think that?
May the 4th.
Oh, wow, man. That is like deep conspiracy stuff there. That would be cool.
Well, I'm on the internet.
It's good. It'd be like a Taylor Swift album drop. Just surprise! Here's a new episode of The Bad Batch.
I would love it, man.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Thanks so much for being here, buddy. Like I said, good practice for in a couple weeks. February 21st. Can't release the schedule yet until we know what time these episodes are going to drop, but we will definitely be keeping everybody up to date, especially you, Tyler. We can't do it without you. So thanks again for being here, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, as we started out the show saying, this was streamed live to our whole base of Patreon supporters. We love you guys. You have no idea how much your support means to us and what it allows us to do for this show. It allows us to grow. I mean, there was a time we weren't doing video the way we're doing it now, and so much of that is because of you guys and all of your support, encouragement. So if you're listening to this on delayed podcast and you want more Rebel Force Radio in your life, the very, very best way to do that is to go over to rebelforceradio.com and click on the Patreon banner, and you'll be taken over there to the official Patreon site for us. You can sign up. There's various entry levels, and as we like to say, a buck gets you in the door, a buck and you're listening, and you're listening to exclusive podcasts that you can't get anywhere else, and you get treated to things like this, like these live shows where only Patreon may apply and may call. So check it out over at Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. We love to have you check out our YouTube channel. So clips of this show get uploaded, the video get uploaded, as well as, well, should have mentioned that full show video is always available for Patreon All Access members. But please do check out the all of the archives of our after shows. Those are all available on YouTube for free. So if you want to go back and rewatch Bad Batch Season 2 and then find out what we thought about it, you can check out all of those after shows over on our YouTube channel. So please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It all helps the... you heard of the Mortis gods. These are the YouTube gods. These are the great algorithms that helps get more people listening and watching Rebel Force Radio. And, of course, the official website for everything and all things Rebel Force Radio, rebelforceradio.com. I think that about covers it. Oh, we're on the socials, so check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X. We're on all of those platforms. It's a great way to find out when we're going live, if we're going live, and there's Star Wars Conversation. Great Star Wars Conversation at the official Rebel Force Radio group over on Facebook. You got to answer a couple of questions, and you get accepted, and then you can talk with other RFR listeners. So there, I think I covered it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week, more Rebel Force Radio. And don't forget, Bad Batch Season 3, February 21st, and with it, a whole new season of RFR After Shows. So hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun for us. We'll see you next time for Rebel Force Radio. I'm Jason.
And I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.